Welcome to 0 to 60.
I'm Matt McChesney. I am the owner and operator of 60 Football Academy and 60 Equipment. Played at the University of Colorado from 2004. 6 years in the National Football League on both sides of football.
I'm Matt McChesney. This is 0 to 60. That is Coach Prime. We are at the University of Colorado. Brother, thank you so much.
All right. 0 to 60. We're rolling. Welcome to 0 to 60. Happy Friday, everybody out there on the Believe Network. I'm your host, Matt McChesney. Bailey's on the ones and the twos. Let's get rolling on this Friday. We'll see if Lawrence Vickers joins us or not. I sent him the link. We'll see. Let's pay some bills and get this shit going.
Let's pay some bills. The show is brought to you by BetOnline. BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform. Your number one source for everything sports betting. BetOnline has every stat, every matchup breakdown, even live odds and spreads to bet on during the games. With largest catalogs of odds on everything from football, MLB, NHL, NBA to political props. When the game's over, head on over to our online casino and get in on a game of blackjack or poker. Or unwind with one of our over 150 slot games. Head to the website today to get in on the action with America's most trusted site for online wagering. BetOnline, the game starts here. This show is also brought to you by Cherubundy, who provides you a natural product with no added sugar using tart cherries, which are the highest antioxidant fruit or vegetable in the world. It's used by nearly 500 collegiate and professional teams, every NFL teams, 10 of the last 11 Super Bowl champions, 66 out of 67 Power 4 conference football teams. Big Matt, it's Friday. We here. How we feeling?
Good, man. Excited for this to get over with so we can get to the game. But feeling good. How about you?
I shouldn't. We here, brother. We here. It's my birthday today, actually. So we here. Huh?
How old are you today?
22.
22 years old. Congratulations.
Appreciate it. But man, let's get right into it. It's gonna be a hell of a game, man. Obviously it's gonna be the pregame show. We're gonna have Vickers on, man. But we'll show highlights from this game. We've posted a bunch. We have the Hail Mary and a bunch of other stuff. But I wanted to dive into this game. Let's start with the quarterback battle. How is Colorado going to shut down Avery Johnson? Obviously, he's pretty damn athletic, one of the fastest players in the country. Not the best passer, but I mean he can get it done. What does Colorado do? What does Colorado have to do to shut him down?
Well, look, Avery Johnson is a weapon. He was super. I think he's the most highly recruited player that's ever gone to Kansas State, if I remember correctly, when he did commit there. He didn't hit the transfer portal. He didn't try and press as a freshman to play in front of Will Howard. So, the kid's hungry and humble, but he's a problem. Everybody that they play, if he goes off, Kansas State wins. At BYU, the whole team struggled, not just him. The special teams was terrible. They gave up like a 97-yard punt return. So, it depends completely on how he's going to react walking into that stadium and that environment. It's going to be crazy up there at 8:15 Saturday night. I wish I could go, but it's not in the cards this week.
Yeah.
Look, if you're just talking about quarterback comparisons here, I'll take our guy every day and twice on Saturday.
I agree.
But in the future, I wouldn't be surprised if this kid stays healthy, if he's got Kansas State humming, when he's a junior, senior, because he's only a redshirt freshman, bro. He's a baby. So I'm sure that he's going to get tampered with in the transfer portal big time. I'm sure that, big time squads will go after him to see if they can lure him.
Yeah.
But we'll see. He's a stud though. And if we don't contain him, he's going to tear us up.
Yeah, no doubt, man. Shoot. Well, let's dive into some stuff, man. Coach Prime was talking about this team after the UCF game, and I mean, like we just said, in order to shut down Avery Johnson, hell of a talent, very athletic. Colorado's got to be on their P's and Q's when it comes to the film study, and Coach Prime actually commented about that, their work ethic on their film study after the UCF game, and had this to say. Take a listen.
The unity is what that was.
Interesting.
And the film study, like the film times has skyrocketed. It's like 2 hours mandatory each week.
Yeah.
During the week. Now I'm looking at the film, it's double because we had a bye week, but you still looking at 6 hours, man. You're looking at the times are just enormous. You're like, man, wow, these guys are getting it.
Oh, so you've seen guys respond to that now with what they've done.
I've seen guys just take it to another level.
Right.
With their film study, their preparation, their communication on the field, they're calling out plays before it happens, even in the inside run and team run and all that stuff. They're doing a phenomenal job, and they're getting to know each other.
Yeah.
They really are.
Matt, your thoughts on that?
Look, film study is the key to football. And I wish that I could have had the same knowledge I have or I had in the NFL that I didn't in college. I didn't study film. I didn't know I wasn't studying film right. I was just watching my position and looking for tendencies on the O-line. I didn't really learn how to break down tape and do it correctly until I got moved to offense, and then I had Bill Callahan as a coach. Consequently, was the head coach at Nebraska when I was a senior at CU, and then he was my offensive line coach in the NFL. That's why you burn bridges.
True.
Film study can make you either a proactive football player on defense and offense or a reactive football player. And look, there's some really good reactive football players. Like Lawrence Taylor didn't study a fucking ounce of film. He was a great reactive football player. Johnny Manziel didn't study any film, and he was a terrible reactive football player. So just, there's a difference between studying and watching. Like, there's a lot of people that just watch tape. Like, you have all these videos that I post. The Dungeon Family, if you're a member for $2.99, you get to see all of them, and I try and do at least once a week.
Yeah. But
watching film and studying film are two very, very different things. Like, I'm going to just say this right now. I got, Coach Stokes is in there talking about his son studying tape and other people. Like, it's so important. So if you get a marker right now and a whiteboard or a piece of paper and a pen, and I say to you, draw me 11 3x1, tight end ISO left, closed bunch right nasty, under Sam stack, strong safety force, cover one fence man. It's 60 protection. Where's the squeeze gap? How are we sliding to protect the Sam in 60 pro? And if we want to switch it to 70, do we still point him? What is the squeeze gap and why are we calling it? How is that going to adjust when the linebacker walks in? What does cover one mean? What does fence mean? Why are they in an under front? These are all pre-snap. I'm not even talking about the play. I'm not talking about shit with the play. So there's all these goddamn experts out here that just watch positions and try and break down film, and I find it laughable. And I wish that I would have studied film professionally the way that I think these kids are, because they're being pushed by professionals. And I'm not saying our coaches weren't. Mm-hmm. It was time we had VHS tapes and shit. There wasn't like I couldn't go on NFL Network and fucking break down just random games from 5 years ago and shit. I didn't have that kind of film. Yeah. So you had to what you had to work with. And I think that one of the reasons I can teach it the way I do, and I help so many guys that actually want help, because everybody just want tips, dude. It's just my whole time, every fucking DM, it's like wearing me out. Every fucking direct message, every email is like, can I get some tips? No, dog, there's no tips. It doesn't work like that. The fucking tips aren't going to work. You have to study. It's a language. And if you don't speak the language, it doesn't even matter what I say to you.
Yeah.
Like, coaches get angry at me in high school here in fucking Hobbytown, Colorado, which is just laughable to me also. But they're like, well, why do you watch NFL tape with the high school kids? And I'm like, well, first of all, I want them to manifest to the screen, because I'm from here and I got to play. Mm-hmm. Tons of guys that have come for the program that are from here got to play. That's one. And number two, I have to teach them all the basic shit before I can even talk to them about anything that I'm seeing. What am I going to somebody in the room and start talking about film and breakdowns of, like, for example, if I'm going up there to do K-State tape with CU, right, and I'm in there talking and they don't understand any of the terms I'm using or why I'm using them, and they don't understand what I'm talking about. They know the scheme, but they don't know the terms. We're speaking two different languages, and that's kind of my point about this whole thing. So you can tell that they're watching film like professionals.
Yeah.
Especially the defensive line and the offensive line being led by professionals, and Sapp and Lewis and Coach Lodeholt, and then your OC is a professional head coach and offensive coordinator, and your head coach just happens to be a gold jacket wearing best player ever. So there's NFL guys all over the field. Livingston's an NFL guy, so they're treating it like it's an NFL football team, and it's working, bro. Like, #1 run defense, and O-line's progressing, and it's just they're getting better and better and better, and a lot of it is the mental side for sure.
Yeah, that's a great point you raised there. And yeah, you have to speak the language. It takes time. I
didn't just say that I'm helping Colorado with tape, dog. That's not what I just said.
That's not what he said.
Not what I said. I mean, god damn, bro, this is wearing me the fuck out. Listen to what I say. I said hypothetically if.
Hey, big T in the family. He says, "Man, fuck the haters. Please keep the show, OG. We need this. Happy birthday, brother. We appreciate you. Thank you so much for the donation, man." But as we keep going here, one player that I think really is going to have an impact, Big 97 Nwankwo. Coach Prime was asked about him, and he says he's not only a good kid, but he's a really good damn football player. So take a listen here.
Not only a good kid, but he's a really good football player, and he's passionate about the game. He's given the team a couple checks and speeches that he was in tears, and it just rattled everyone's cage because he was so passionate about it. And that young man there is ready to play. We trust him.
Okay.
On Saturday, we know what we're going to get.
He's one of those 7 guys.
He is definitely one.
Yeah.
We know what we're going to get from him.
He's got a daughter.
Look.
And, I mean, he was smiling like you would.
That's right.
And turned into a teddy bear all of a sudden.
Because he understands fatherhood. I'm not going to say all our young men were prepared for fatherhood, but they accepted it, and they understand there's a tremendous responsibility that coincides with that. And I'm going to step up to the plate and be the best father that I could possibly be. That's who he is.
Matt, your thoughts on that? What are you looking to see out of the defensive line in Big 97?
Look, that kid is a brick shit house, bro, and he is really, really good. He was good in the opener. You could definitely feel him when he wasn't on the field, and now you could feel him when he was, because he was DDTing people at UCF, and he's a leverage monster, bro. Like, I know there's people like, well, he's not big enough to play in the NFL. Well, there's this guy named Aaron Donald who's 5'11", 6 foot. John Randall was 6 foot. Mm-hmm. Like, I played with a guy in New York who's a good friend of mine who works with defensive linemen in Houston named James Tank Reed, who played at Iowa State, played linebacker at Iowa State, and then played nose tackle in the NFL at 6 foot. So I don't agree with that. I think that he's a fucking monster at the point of attack. And yeah, is he going to be a little small at times? Yeah, but he's what is he, 6 foot with a 320-pound frame? So there's nothing small about that. His arms are super long, and he's built the right way. So when you've got him and Branch and Cooks and all these other cats rotating in, and I hope that they've figured out their rotation. It seems like they have. It's a change up for the offensive lineman too. You have to understand, like, when you're playing against Branch and he's 6'5", 350 or 340 or whatever he is, and you got to deal with the door frame running at you every play, okay? And then all of a sudden 97 comes in and he's 6 foot 300 and he's getting under everybody's pads, and you got to drop your level to deal with him. And then you got to go deal with Cooks, who's a big 3 technique, who can really get after it, who's playing a lot better, bro. That kid is really, really killing it. Yeah. And it's just, you're rotating all these different guys in, and it becomes a huge pain in the ass interior wise. And we're not even talking about the rotation outside with 93 and Walker and all those cats. So it seems like they're pretty deep on the defensive line, and they're only getting better. I think that the backup defensive ends. What's 93's name? I can't pronounce it because I'm an asshole, but 93 and Walker might be better than the two Pittsburgh transfers we brought in, Hayes and Green. So I'm just saying, bro, like this, when you have backups that consider themselves starters and are pushing the starters for playing time, and then they come in and they're just as good. That's hard, bro. I played on some defensive lines up there. For example, in 2001, our rotation on the defensive line was me, Bannon, Brayton, Marcus Harris, DeAndre Fluellen, and that's everybody there. We were just rotating everybody through. Everybody can play every position with the exception of Bannon, and everybody's a pro. 5 out of the 6 guys have their pensions. So I'm telling you, bro, 93 he's from Pittsburgh too, apparently. Man,
I can't pronounce his last name.
We perched that defensive line, bro. I like it. So look, bro, I think that the offensive and defensive lines have really, really improved because of film study, but also because of just the push of the coaches.
Yeah. And this shirt's on the website. Head to 60strength.com and go get it. It's on there right now. It's got Mark Jones and the quote. But yeah, no, you make a hell of a point. And Matt, one thing I wanted to highlight with Big 97 Nwankwo, talk about you're 6'5", right? What's it like blocking someone that's 5'11" and has that leverage like an Aaron Donald type? You describe that from a bigger
it's a pain in the ass. It's almost even when I was playing defense and I would play against smaller guards that were like 6'2", 6'3", 310.
Yep.
Like it's a massive pain in the fucking ass. It just Logan Mankins that played at Fresno State, played for the Patriots for so long. Mm-hmm. He's just a pain in the ass. You know, Brandon Moore for the Jets when I was there, an ex-defensive lineman that played at Illinois, played forever. He was the butt fumble guy. His nickname's Meat. He's a pain in the ass. He's under your pads all the time. So it forces you to be a knee bender, which most guys struggle with. So, yeah, man, it's a pain in the ass, no doubt.
Yeah. Yeah.
On both sides of the ball. I'd say that it's harder to move a defensive guy than it is an offensive guy.
Yeah. 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 That's
Nicholas
very
isn't on the show. He can't tell time, so.
Okay. All right.
What the fuck, dude? I mean, that's what it is. That's what he just texted me and said he can't do it because, in my opinion, he can't tell time.
It's all good. Well, let's move forward here. One thing I wanted to talk about before we cover some more stuff. Matt, your thoughts on this game last night? Seahawks struggles defensively, man. And Geno Smith seemed off, missing a lot of throws that you don't normally see him miss. San Fran, they do their thing. Debo had a good game. They were running the ball. Mason, the younger back, and they also had the rookie from I believe Louisville, 31. But what are your thoughts on this game?
I guess it was okay. I mean, there's lots of points. There's some excitement.
Yeah.
Looked like Seattle needs some time off. They played 3 games in 11 days, and you could tell. Yeah. I mean, they were real shitty at the start of the game, and they could have won, but they kind of fucked that up. Sure. San Francisco's rolling, man, and if they get Christian McCaffrey back healthy, you better watch out for the 49ers because they got fucking weapons everywhere, and they looked pissed off last night. Whereas against Arizona, they looked like they were sleepwalking, and they just thought they could show up and win the game. It's the 49ers are a real team, so I really think that they're in contention in the NFC once again. If they I don't see anybody else winning the West. So
yeah, that was my next question. Was Matt, how do you see this division? I mean, this is gonna be interesting. You got the Cardinals with Kyler Murray, who took out the Niners, but I mean, I don't know. They don't have McCaffrey. That's a huge factor. But McCaffrey probably isn't going to come back till week 10, week 12. Dr. Jesse Morris said that. The Rams are just, they're beat up, man. They're really, really injured. And so are the Niners, but the Rams are like worse than that. So I don't know. I think, I could see San Fran doing it again, unless the Cardinals just shock me. I mean, I don't trust Kyler Murray until he goes and actually wins something, because the last time he won 9 games, like they started what? Fucking 5-1 and then 9-2 a couple years ago, and then it went downhill from there. And that was with Kingsbury. So you raise a hell of a point there, man. Man, let's keep going, moving forward here. Talk about this game. Prediction time. What are your thoughts? Let's get right into it.
Look, I think that CU has all of the potential in the world to really put on a show in this game. But I also think that this is it's a foreign spot for the Buffs. This is a huge, huge, huge opportunity. So I'd like to think that they're ready for it from a mental perspective. Kansas State is always playing in these games. Everybody bookmarks K-State in the Big 12 and goes, we got to beat these people in order to win the Big 12, and that's true. It's just a fact. So you can do 2 things on Saturday night. You can put a nail in their coffin, because that puts them at 2 conference losses, and then they need help. They need people to lose.
Yeah.
Puts you at 3-0 in conference, going into a huge game next week at Arizona to put the nail in their coffin, essentially. So CU can not only beat K-State, but they can kind of end K-State's crusade to win the Big 12. You know what I'm saying? So there's got to be extra motivation there. Everybody's healthy. I'd imagine that there's going to be high flying and a lot of points scored, but I like our defense more than I like their defense. That said, I really think that the predictions and everything, like, I don't know what the point spread is, but it's going to be close. It's going to be a 4th quarter game. I think CU will win it because they're at home. And if Shador has the fucking ball last, it's over. But again, Avery's a fucking stud, dude. He is an absolute animal. And we're going to have to contain that kid. And we've struggled with running quarterbacks. So we even, like KJ Jefferson, I know that we beat the shit out of UCF, but his stat line wasn't awful.
Yeah, that's true.
So look, I don't care if they're in 4 wide or empty. I don't need a formation to make me happy. If they can run the ball out of 10 of 11 and 11, I'm fine. You can still be in 11 personnel and be in 4 wide, and Smalls, the tight end, has shown that he can rotate back in.
Seville, yeah.
They've got some offensive linemen that are pretty athletic. I'd like to see them maybe do some stuff that Penn State did last week to UCLA. They put another big guy on the field and just let it be known, like, yeah, we're spread, but we've also got an offensive lineman lined up too.
Put him on the slot in motion. I love that shit. That was awesome. But yeah, good point.
I think that there's a huge opportunity here for both teams, but I think CU. I've been saying this since day one. This is the last dance for the Buffs, bro. It's the last time the Sanders family and everybody's together. It's the last time that everybody's pushing towards the goal together. Shiloh's back, national TV, tons of recruits on deck. This is the kind of game that if Colorado wins this game, it projects them and elevates them even further than the UCF game did. That woke the country up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, the Baylor game startled everybody because they thought it was over. The UCF game woke everybody up. We've had a week to fucking just sit here and watch. This is the kind of game that gets everybody on board. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I think the Colorado wins. I'll take them 31-27. And the defense sets up big time at the end of the game.
Man, you spot on the point spread too, because Colorado. So so the over under is 55, 50. It's got up to 56. Keep in mind it opened at 49, so that's up 6 points. I would lean under on that. But they were opened at Kansas State being 6.5 point favorites. That's down to 3.5 too. So that's ironic you haven't won it by 4. But no, I would go Colorado. I really do think that this is the game because I think Vegas is confused as shit. I mean, if that over moves 7 points, you don't see that typically. So I think Vegas is very confused with what Colorado is. Sean King said that. It's a very good point. From Colorado's perspective, if their defensive line can shut down the quarterback run with this Avery Johnson, who's a freak athletically, I think they're going to have a lot of success because I have no doubt CU's passing game, Shador, they're going to do their thing. I do think Travis Hunter going to do his thing, but I think I'm looking to see a big game from Jimmy Horn or Will Shepherd. So one of those other guys, because there's going to be a lot of eyes on Travis, especially when he's in a receiver. But I would take Colorado. I want to say 24-10. I think low score and war, like we say yesterday. That's my prediction. Your thoughts?
I like it, man. As long as Kansas State's losing in your prediction, then I'm with it.
Yeah, exactly. Oh man, but before we move on here from this, I wanted to just show a couple different highlights. Matt, you can kind of talk about as I show them here. But here's you getting a sack here.
That's the game from 2001. There was we went to Manhattan as big time underdogs and beat them and pretty much ended their role at the Big 12. It was our first conference game, so good game.
Yeah. Next play here, we got. I believe you get another sack here.
Del Roberson, bro, he was a stud. The 8 was a hard get down.
Yeah,
that guy was a pain in the fucking ass, man. I should have wrapped up better right there.
No doubt. Here we got this play.
I'm telling you, bro, Darren Sproles was such a pain in the ass. In 2002, he was a pain in the ass when Strickland knocked him out. In 2003, he went for 200 something on us. And in 2004, he went for another $150 on us at home. We just happened to beat him at the end of the game.
Well, speaking of that, last play.
And this is the final play at Folsom my career, so that was pretty cool.
That is pretty dope.
That's a one play, big play, Monte. He calls himself big play. I call him one play.
Oh, man. But, yeah, just want to show that as we kind of preview this game here. We're going to go ahead and take a commercial break here in a second. Go ahead and pay some more bills here on this fine Friday here. To all 600 people in here, we can't thank you enough. Thank you a lot for tuning in. We appreciate you. Become a member of the Dungeon family for only $2.99. And head over to 6 Real Strength to get a T-shirt today. We appreciate you. We'll go ahead and be right back in 2 minutes, and peace.
Whether it's offensive linemen as they work combos and double teams and also pass, pro, and punch, I think the unique physicality of this is outstanding. So much so that you can use it for your shield on punt team or as you rush in the shield. There's so many different ways that we're using it. We get better a little bit every single day, and I just wanted to say thank you because I hadn't ever thought of this, and when I saw it, it made total sense, and we're doing a great job with it. So thank you, man. Go Big Red. What this has done for us is it's allowed us to, because of the surface area, because of its firm nature, I can still strike against another player and have to use that punch just like you do on a sled. At the same time, have to time my punch because it could move. I can teach defensive linemen how to handle double teams because they can feel pressure. We can simulate contact in a safe environment in non-contact times because of this unique bag.
Welcome down here to the Lab 60 Football Academy, 60 Strength and Fitness. I am your owner and operator, Matt McChesney. I just wanted to let everybody know that 60 is now on Cameo. You can go on Cameo and request any tips for training, any offensive line, defensive line tips, recruiting tips. I get so many inquiries in my inbox on a daily basis about tips and can you look at my film and can you do this? Can you break down something for me? I'd love to. All right? It's like the Joker said, my man, right here. If you're good at something, never do it for free. So Cameo is now your bridge to 60 Football Academy. Go in, request what you want, tips, suggestions, recruiting, film, and we will make sure that you get the absolute best from the best. So check out 60 on Cameo at 60 Academy. Cameo, 60 Academy. Cameo, 60 Academy.
And we're back. Big Matt, in the second half, we're going to talk a little bit of NFL, a little bit of college, just different games throughout the country here. We gave our predictions for Colorado versus K-State. It's going to be a hell of a game. 10 p.m. or 10:15 p.m. Eastern kickoff, 8 on the mountain, 8 Mountain, just another late one. But yeah, man, let's get right into it. Let's talk a little bit. Start with NFL. Why not? So we talked a little bit Seahawks Niners, but what are your thoughts on this slate? Your Broncos take on the Chargers and Harbaugh. Any games you looking forward to?
Look, this is the dog days of the NFL, week 6, week 7, week 8, where there's going to be separation with a lot of teams as well.
Yeah.
I think that they should flex the Commanders or the Redskins and the Ravens. That would be awesome, but they won't do it because CBS wants to keep that rating.
Yeah.
The Sunday night game, the Bengals and the Giants is just, who gives a shit? I mean, watching Joe Burrow. Other than that, that game is terrible. I'm eager to see what the Jets do with Buffalo on Monday night. If any of these changes mean shit, I think that I really think that Aaron Rodgers is fucked. He's in trouble. Not only him being in trouble, but the entire team is in trouble.
Yeah, talk about that further. We haven't even talked about Saleh getting fired. So Robert Saleh was fired. Now they promoted the DC Olbrich, and now they demoted Hackett from calling plays. Just your thoughts on the whole situation, and yeah, keep expanding on team Aaron Rodgers.
Well, look, the situation is Robert Saleh is on vacation for 3 years, and all the pressure's on Aaron Rodgers to go out and do all this shit he said he was going to do, all the torn Achilles and the missing, mini camps and not bonding with his teammates and getting timing down and learning the offense, bringing in an offensive coordinator in Hackett that is a total yes man. And they took his play calling duties away. I don't know why he's there. Should have just fired his ass too. But then he'd be on vacation as well. So look, bro, the situation in New York is as bad as it gets. It's as bad as it gets, and it's always like this. It's what the Jets are. So being a Jet, it's like a curse. Like I'm glad I got to play in the league, but couldn't go to New England. What the fuck?
Yeah, I didn't make a point there. Well, let's move on to one of your other teams, the Denver Broncos. They take on the Los Angeles Chargers and Jim Harbaugh. Herbert it's a beat up Herbert, injured Herbert, but I would guess he's playing. Your thoughts on that game?
Look, Herbert under Harbaugh, you would figure that he would be exploding under Harbaugh, especially with the way they run the ball, and it just hasn't happened.
Yeah.
So the Broncos have the Chargers at home. They usually win that game, and they're going to be favored, and I bet they win the game too on Sunday. Denver's defense is real. They are good. And the offense is getting better. I mean, they're not great by any means, but they're getting better. So, Bo Nix, if he can build off of a good game rather than have a good game, have a shitty game, have a good game, have a shitty game. The weather's going to be nice Sunday in Denver. It's still hot as shit here. So I'd imagine that the Broncos will be in a very good place to go 4-2, and then after that, I mean, you're looking at the possibility of maybe being 7-2, 6-2 down the road. They got Carolina, and they got some shitty teams on deck that they can take advantage of. They got to go to New Orleans on a Thursday night. Oof. After this, that's a tough one.
Yeah, that's right.
That'll be tough, but Carr isn't playing, so.
Oh boy, that's gonna be a fun Thursday night game to watch.
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome. Another great Thursday night snoozer.
Yeah, no, you make a great point there. Let's look across the league a little bit more. I mean, shoot, Broncos are going to be probably surprising some people this season, including myself and probably you as well, man. They're looking better. This is going to be. Let's talk about the game right above it. Eagles take on the Cleveland Browns in Philadelphia. I don't know what you think of the Eagles. I really think that they're in serious trouble, and I don't know how you feel about Nick Sirianni and that whole organization. But then they take on the Browns, who have the Deshaun Watson and that whole situation. So what are your thoughts on this game?
I think both. I think Stefanski is good. I don't think he'll get fired. But Ronnie, they lose this game, he could be out the door.
Yeah, that's true.
Cleveland is a total shit show. I mean, they're more of a shit show than the Jets. Deshaun Watson has totally shut it down. And you know what? I mean, Deshaun Watson is better off just taking his money and going to live in a hole. You know, he's got to be one of the most hated NFL players ever.
Yeah.
I don't know any parents that are like, let's get you that Deshaun Watson jersey, son. I mean,
you're not wrong, Matt.
So I want I don't really care who wins the game, obviously, but I will say this: if the Eagles want Sirianni out, they should be rooting for the Browns. And the Browns, they need to start Jameis Winston and put Deshaun on the bench. And then I don't know how you get out of that contract. What are you going to trade Deshaun Watson and draft picks? Are you going to trade your first and second round draft?
I don't get how that would work.
You can't cut him. It's too much of a dead cap hit. I'm saying if they want to get rid of Deshaun Watson, they'll have to trade him and put like a first and second round pick in there. So the other team's essentially buying the first and second round picks for like a conditional seventh rounder. And they take all that money off the book, and then the new team cuts him, and they get the first and second rounder. So you're giving them your first and second round picks in order to get rid of Deshaun Watson. That's bad.
What a nightmare. Like that is not good from an organizational standpoint, man. Jesus. I don't know who's going to win that game. I do think you make a great point. If the Eagles have another bad loss, Sirianni could be out of there. And the Eagles move on quick. Howie Rose, they move on quick. They don't fuck around. So yeah, that's a good point.
The Jets set the table, and they've already fired somebody. So now everybody can start firing people.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. What about let's talk about Ravens and Commanders. The Ravens take on the Washington Commanders in Baltimore. Jaden Daniels has been playing out of his mind, looking like the rookie of the year right now on the offensive side. Lamar and Derrick Henry and the Ravens, they look good running the ball. I mean, it seems like that's starting to work a little bit. But what are your thoughts on that game?
This is the game of the week. I think that this is going to be not only is it the battle for Maryland, but Jaden Daniels, his comparison is Lamar Jackson, and he throws the ball better than Lamar. So I'm sure Lamar will be jazzed up for this one. And the Ravens are running the shit out of the ball, and they're just beating people up front. Mm-hmm. And that's what the Commanders are trying to do under Dan Quinn. So I think that the Commanders are going to win the East and host a playoff game, and I think they're pretty good. Bobby Wagner, leading that defense and, just getting better and better and better and better. This would be a huge win for Washington. It would be a good win for Baltimore. They're expected to win, but it would be a massive win for Washington. I think that this could be the kind of win that sets them on a really good trajectory to not only win the East, but maybe win a playoff game. So, they got to get a new stadium there for Washington, and they need to change the name. But other than that, that franchise is on the up.
I think they need to change it back to Redskins. And I've been saying this. My buddy is one of my best friends is full-blooded Native American, and we did a video about it, and it blew up on YouTube. I'm telling you, yeah, bring back Redskins. But how do you feel about Dan Quinn? If they really go out and win the East, do you think he's coach of the year? I mean, he's done a hell of a job with that team, along with Cliff Kingsbury as the OC.
Yeah, probably. And then Cliff will get another opportunity. Look, Dan Quinn, his guys, especially early in tenures, early with the Cowboys, early with the Falcons, they buy in. With the Seahawks, they buy in. At some point, the wheels fall off like it does everywhere. Yeah. But look, his guys right now are set up for success. You've got a rookie quarterback on a rookie contract. You've got good backs in the backfield with Eckler and Robinson. You've got a good offensive line that's getting better. And the defense, Payne and Allen are playing good inside. Wagner's playing well. They've got some pressure outside, and they're ball hawking in the secondary. So are they a perfect team? By no means. By no means. But are they a good team that can win the East in a very average NFC East? Shit, yeah. The NFC East is super fucking average. If they figure out a way to split with the Cowboys, beat the Giants, You know, it's and the Eagles aren't anything to like. They're good on paper. The Eagles are awesome, but you know, we'll see.
I have no faith in the Philadelphia Eagles, man. You make a great point. Let's look another game, Packers-Cardinals. Jordan Love and the Packers take on the Arizona Cardinals at home. The Cardinals come off a big win versus the Niners where they won late. I like the Packers here, but what are your thoughts on this game?
I would take the over for sure because there's going to be some points scored in this one. Kyler Murray is playing better. Him and Harrison seem to have a pretty good rapport.
Mm-hmm.
Love is trying to come back and do the same thing he did last year. He's being a little reckless with the football, but he's also throwing a lot of touchdowns when he's in there. So you got, wide open coaches with Gannon and LaFleur that know each other. I would take the over in this game on BetOnline for sure. I mean, this is the kind of game where it's 38-35 or 41-38.
Yeah, I agree with you there. Both offenses, I've seen to figure out a way to score this year for sure. Let's look at the London game. Caleb Williams and the Bears take on Trevor Lawrence and the Jaguars. Before you even say anything, I would bet the under. And as I've been doing with every London game, bet the under. Your thoughts?
Bet the under. Bet the under on BetOnline. The London games, I'm not saying that the overseas games are bad. I'm glad that all the fucking Brits get to see football for real. But I feel like we're taking away from the product, honestly.
Yeah.
Like it's a massive pain in the ass for the teams, for the travel. But this is what the NFL is. The NFL is an entertainment business. It's not a football business. So they're in the business of entertainment, and it's just a matter of time before there's NFL teams across the pond. And then it's really going to get nasty because you're going to have teams flying fucking 12 hours, a round trip, 14-hour round trips just to go play one game on Sunday. Like, you're going to have a home base in the United States and have a facility in fucking London. So I don't know, man. This is a tricky game, and it's at 7 o'clock in the fucking morning. And I know that there's diehards that are going to wake up and watch, but I ain't one of them.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you, are you going to wake up at 7 or whatever
We're at the labs every Sunday anyway. I don't even start watching NFL games until 11. That's when we get done. So
yeah. Not my way waking up to watch the shitty game. I'll be up, but I ain't watching it. Last game I want to talk to you about on the NFL side. Justin Fields and the Steelers head to Vegas to take on now Aiden O'Connell starting in the Raiders. AP decided to make that switch last week. Aiden O'Connell is the starter now. Your thoughts on that game?
I think the Steelers will rebound. I don't think the Raiders are very good.
Russell Wilson is a full participant in practice this week, so you might see that from them, or they might.
If Fields struggles, and I'm sure whack-ass Russ will go in the game, and that'll be fun. But look, I think the Steelers will rebound. Tomlin's a better coach than Pierce. They've got their defense is real. The Raiders' defense is Max Crosby and Christian Wilkins and Robert Spillane and eight other fucking guys. So this is an old school rivalry game with the logos, but I think it'll be a destination game for Pittsburgh fans. They'll want to go to Vegas this weekend and see what they can see. So I think Pittsburgh wins.
Yeah, and the last thing I'll ask you on that, you still a believer in Justin Fields as QB1?
I am over Russell Wilson.
Man, shockwaves from Russ when he was on the Broncos. Man, I don't know. We'll see whether they end up playing him.
Fuck that fake ass motherfucker, dog. Give me a break, dude. I've never met or seen anybody more.
Well, I know you hate his off the field shit, but I think it's better quarterback than Justin Fields. That's my.
You can't hide that fakeness. In Seattle, I don't know how he hit it, but when you don't have a team like they did in Seattle around him, that fakeness shines through, and everybody can see it. And it's all this positive talk and let's ride and 4 Super Bowls and it's spicy and I'm tired of it. Russell Wilson needs to go the fuck away. I don't want to talk about the guy anymore.
Okay. Well, we won't talk about him unless he plays, but I just had to ask you that. Let's move on to some college. I want to ask you about some college games, not in Colorado, but let's talk tonight. Utah takes on Arizona State in Tempe, in Arizona. The kickoff temperature is going to be like 100 degrees or some crazy shit in the desert. Matt, your thoughts on that game? Utah is 5.5-point favorites right now.
I'm going to take Arizona State on the road, bro, or at home. I think Gillingham's got them in the right direction. They hammer the rock. I love their big running back. They've got good defensive players, and they're playing hard for Kenny, and he's an alum from there, and he's really got them on the right path. I think Arizona State's kind of a sleeping giant in the Big 12 a little bit, even more than Arizona. I think Jed Fitch went to Washington, and he's got them playing okay. Big win last week. They're at Iowa this week. But I don't know. Arizona's not the same team they were last year, and I just think Arizona State's set up for more success in that state than they are. And this is a massive game for them. National TV, opportunity to knock off Utah. Utah and Arizona State have played good games, and it's an opportunity for Arizona State to showcase that they're for real, and maybe they're a contender in the Big 12. So this is a closeout game for Utah too. If Utah goes and drops this game in the desert, they got 2 losses in conference. They're fucked.
What I was going to ask you, if they lose this game, what does this mean for Utah? Like, this is
look, this is finally apparently Cam Rising is going to play for the first time ever.
Again, they say this and he doesn't.
And they say this every week that he's going to play. There's got to be some kind of like repercussion for this shit. Like, you can't just say he's going to fucking play and then he doesn't play every week. Look, it is, if he plays, then I'm sure he'll be rusty. But he's a good player. But he hasn't played in a fucking year and a half or more. Yeah. So I would think that
for him to go in 100-degree weather.
Well, I'll take Arizona State at home here. It's gonna be wild. Tempe they're gonna fill out. Yeah. It's hot as balls. It's gonna be a good game, but I think Arizona State pulls it out.
Yeah, I mean, I'll take them 5.5 at home, being home underdogs. Shit, and I think you make a good point with Rising. If he plays, it's a rough environment, especially an up and coming Arizona State team. Under Dillingham, man, yeah. I am with you on that. I'll take Arizona State to cover. If Utah drops that game, that's going to be tough for them the rest of the year out. Another game tonight, UNLV takes on Utah State at Utah State. Utah State comes off a loss to Boise where Genty, does what he does, ran for like 100 yards in the first half. But UNLV is 18.5-point favorites. Matt, what are your thoughts on this game? UNLV comes off the loss to Syracuse.
Take the points.
I agree.
Especially at home. That's a lot of points for a Mountain West game at home. 18.5-point underdog.
Wait, hold on. Take the points for Utah State? That's what you said?
Yeah. I would say Utah State doesn't lose by 3 touchdowns or 18 points to UNLV. But I think UNLV will win. But yeah. I would take Utah State minus 18.5?
You take them Utah State plus 18.5.
Plus 18.5, yeah. So plus 18.5 on Bet Online. I'll take Utah State at home. Yeah. But UNLV is good. UNLV should beat the shit out of them. And UNLV is fighting for that 12 seed. That loss to Syracuse didn't help, but they are fighting for it.
Yeah. My thoughts on I agree with you. My thoughts on this game is just UNLV is good at running the damn ball. That's what we have seen. Utah State has one of the worst rush defenses in the country. We saw Genty, who's going to be one of those people in New York for the Heisman, run crazy on them. That's where I'm like, I'll take UNLV for the points to cover their spread. I think they'll win by 3 touchdowns. They figure out against other teams. I understand this is a conference game, but Utah State is not great, especially after losing their coach in the offseason. But yeah, let's move on here to a couple games tomorrow here. To all people watching, I can't thank you enough for joining. We appreciate you. Go ahead and become a member of the Dungeon family for $2.99. First game I wanted to start off with a different game. Minnesota heads to LA to take on UCLA and the Bruins. Deshaun Foster, what are your thoughts on that game?
He's going to get fired. I mean, they might keep him around for another year, but you can see the writing on the wall that UCLA doesn't want to be the doormat of the Big Ten. But they're going to be. Minnesota's going to go in there and beat the shit out of them. So Minnesota's a good football team. PJ Fleck's kind of corny, but whatever. Most college football coaches are. So yeah, they'll go row the boat and all that stupid shit.
Be elite
in LA. And then look, the way that they played at Michigan, almost winning that game, then they beat USC, and then they go to LA to play UCLA right afterwards. You know, it's the LA sweep. It's an opportunity to go beat the shit out of two pretty boy teams from LA and go put some recruiting roots down in LA too. Be like, look, we come here and play every year, so why wouldn't you come to Minnesota? So, you know, it's a huge game for Minnesota with that LA market. And it's a huge game for UCLA too. Coach Bieniemy and Coach Foster and everybody out there, they need to win bad. And UCLA has been getting beat up.
Yeah. I'm with you on that. I like PJ Fleck and Minnesota roll the boats, just go in there. I really think they're going to take it to them. Minnesota's not the greatest offensively, but they're tough. I think they'll win by at least 10. Shoot, against UCLA, who's struggling. Yeah, I'm with you on that. One thing I'll say in the chat, there's some y'all hilarious, bro, because I'm not a fucking better. Shut the fuck up. Like a fucking clown. Goodbye. Next game. Iowa State and West Virginia. Iowa State is 3.5-point favorites against West Virginia on the road. What are your thoughts?
I would take West Virginia straight here. They're blanking out the blacks, the coal miner blacks, what their uniforms, and Iowa State and West Virginia have played some doozies in the past. This is a long trip for Iowa State. It's a long trip for everybody to go to West Virginia.
Yeah.
But Morgantown's going to be rocking, and they've really turned it around, and they're in position in the Big 12 if they keep winning, you know, because their losses are out of conference where they have all their goals in front of them. So I think West Virginia's pretty good. I'm going to roll with my boy Cole Taylor, their big tight end, and the Mountaineers. I think that they get the win against Iowa State.
Wow. Yeah.
Kind of humbles and put. I'm taking West Virginia at home over Iowa State. Just straight.
That'll be a huge win for them. Huge win. And that gives Iowa State a lot. Yeah, that'll be a huge win. Shoot, I don't know. I wouldn't bet this game. I think it's going to be a slugfest. I would probably bet the under if I'm looking at it's 53.5. I think it's going to be a war. Could West Virginia pull it out? Oh, I don't know. I like your take. I don't know. I would probably rock with Iowa State to end up winning that. Whether they cover, we'll see. Let's keep looking at the slate here. Ole Miss and LSU in Baton Rouge. Matt, Ole Miss is 3.5-point favorites. Your thought on this game?
My man Brett Cluj is going to be down at this game as a recruit for LSU. So, look, this is a big time SEC game. Ole Miss and LSU both have their fucking backs against the wall.
Yeah.
Ole Miss lost the game they're not supposed to. LSU looks like a pretty good football team, but I'm not sure in big games that they show up correctly. They're pretty undisciplined. I would think that Lane Kiffin is finally realizing that he can do just enough at Ole Miss to finish 10-2 every year, as opposed to maybe going somewhere bigger like Florida or something like that and being able to go undefeated. Look, this is a massive game in the SEC to determine who's going to play for the SEC. You know, this puts you in position to play for the position. Yeah. So whoever loses this game is pretty much fucked. Like they need other people to lose. Yeah. So that's the beauty of college football right now is there's a lot of games on a lot of teams that if they lose a game, the season's not over by any means, but the opportunity to get the automatic bid and get into the playoffs is. So
yeah, that's true.
It's not fun sitting there knowing you're good, but you dropped a game or two that you weren't supposed to. And now you need help. That's not fun.
Yeah, I hear you. Good point. One game I really wanted to move on to, Penn State and USC. We've already seen, you and JB talked about this morning. James Franklin's already talked about the runway and the travel and the shit. But Penn State is 3.5-point favorites as they head across the country to take on USC and the Trojans and Lincoln Riley. Your thoughts on that game?
I like SC at home. I think they'll rebound. I think Penn State's good, but I don't think that they've really played anybody. Illinois gave them a little bit of a run at home. Look, SC is a proud program. They have good players. They lost a close one at Minnesota. They're not going to just go home and lay down. And Penn State already has all these built-in excuses about runways and travel and all this other bullshit. So the players hear that too, bro. The players hear all the excuses, and they're like, oh, well, if the coach has excuses, then shit, why don't I come up with some excuses on why I'm not going to play well? So I think that this game is a good game. It'll be fun to watch, I'm sure. But Penn State doesn't usually go to Southern California unless they're playing in the Rose Bowl. So, this is an opportunity for SC to get a huge win and get back on track. Because if they lose this game, they're in the same position as UCLA pretty much, just the doormat of the Big Ten, just getting beat on every week.
Yeah. Now you make a good point there. I don't trust either team. Penn State is they always drop a game or two every year. And USC, after they kind of got worked by Minnesota, I'm like, I kind of saw that coming. I told you last week that I think Minnesota's tough and will give them some work. And look what happened. That's where I'm like, I wouldn't touch either team. But if I had to guess what would happen, I think Penn State wins by at least a touchdown. That's just me. But cool. Cal and Pittsburgh. This is a good game. Cal's had probably the most. This new schedule and conference alignment's got teams traveling everywhere, which is different than what it used to be. But Cal heads to Pitt to take on Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's 3.5-point favorites. Pitt's played pretty damn well this year. Looking to get another win for them. Your thoughts?
Yeah, the scheduling is ridiculous, but that's what it is. Why are the Cowboys in the NFC East? I don't know. Why aren't the Dolphins in the AFC South? I don't know.
Yeah.
So, look, it's the travel is what it is. Cal's got to man up and make the trip. Pitt is good. They're not great. This is, if Pitt underestimates Cal will win. And if Cal goes in there and plays well, they'll win. But this is the ACC schedule for Cal is different. They're playing teams they've never played before, and in environments they've never played in before. And this is a good game, but not a great game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm excited to watch this game personally. Pitt has a lot to prove. I think if they get this win, they get over the hump, and they're like, okay, is Pitt really like a contender here? Cal. Coming off a really tough loss to Miami, and this is going to be interesting. It's going to be a hell of a game here. I'm rolling with Pitt. I bet on them last week. I'm going to roll with them again this week. I think they cover and take out Cal. Look on these last Illinois and Purdue. I just want to touch on this game. Purdue is having a rough year, obviously. Illinois is 22.5-point favorites, though. Something to look at. Your thoughts?
Look, Purdue is having a rough one. Bad. My boy Ryan Walters looks like he's not going to be in Purdue land very much longer. He's a hell of a defense coordinator. Maybe got the job a little young. I don't know. The transfer portal era, we'll see what happens. He was a great defense coordinator for Illinois. Had them the number one defense in the country before he got that job. So I'm sure that Bielema will want to hammer his ex-defensive coordinator. And Illinois is pretty good. Their quarterback's a good player, and they're pretty tough up front. But look, this is a huge opportunity for Purdue to get a huge win too. So, is it in Lafayette or Illinois?
Yeah, I believe Illinois is at home.
So it's in Champaign.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Illinois probably covers those points. They're pretty good, and Purdue's pretty shitty.
Yeah.
For some reason, they just haven't bought into what Coach Walters is preaching, and it's bad. So, not really a whole lot of other ways to sugarcoat that one.
Yeah, no doubt. You make a hell of a point. Yeah, I'm with you on that. I think Illinois covers. It's unfortunate, but it's what it is. I hear you. Last two games, Red River rivalry, Texas, Oklahoma. Texas 14.5-point favorites.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Really?
It's crazy. 14-point favorites over your rival on a neutral site.
Yeah, I just think. Oh, what are your thoughts on Oklahoma, man?
I think Oklahoma's won 7-10 in this fucking rivalry,
yeah,
and the last time Texas went in there last year as a huge fucking favorite and a high ranking, and Oklahoma beat them. So I think that this is a great game. You can throw the point spreads and all the bullshit out the window. I've only seen one really huge blowout in the last 10 years, and that was Venable's first year. Mm-hmm. So I think that Oklahoma's going to go in there and play their balls off. I don't think they're going to win, but I think they'll play their balls off, and it'll be a really close game. I wouldn't be surprised if Oklahoma gets up early and Texas has to come back.
Man, yeah, that's tough, man, because I watched a lot of Oklahoma, and I don't like what I see. They have quarterback problems. They have offensive line problems as well. But you make a good point with the rivalry, 14.5 points. Anything above 14, looks pretty damn good. You make a hell of a point. And the last one, the biggest game probably tomorrow, Ohio State and Oregon. Oregon is 3.5-point dogs at home. Your thoughts?
Well, this used to be a de facto playoff game, bro, period. And now you can lose this game and still get into the playoff. You probably won't host a playoff game, or you probably won't be a bye week, but you might host a playoff game and be the higher seed. So this is a huge game. Game day's there. Ohio State hasn't been to Oregon since 1967. Oregon, the last time they went to the shoe, they beat Ohio State. So, Ryan Day hasn't forgotten about that. So this has some real, real consequences for both teams. So whoever wins this game arguably is the number one team in the country, especially if Texas struggles with Oklahoma the way that they flip-flop number one this year. So we'll see what happens, but I like Ohio State on the road. I think they're really explosive. As long as Will Howard doesn't fuck it up, we'll see.
Yeah, make a hell of a point there. I'm rocking with Oregon. I think they'll get it done. I think Lanning, I'm a big fan of Lanning. Dylan Gabriel, I think, is a much better quarterback than Will Howard, in my opinion, so I think I'm going to roll with that. But, hey, great show on this fine Friday. Can't thank you all enough, all 635 people. Go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe, and become a member of the Dungeon family for only $2.99. Big Matt, any closing thoughts before we get out of here? See you got the late game tomorrow. It's going to be a hell of a matchup. Can't wait to watch it. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I wish I could go up to the game, but it's just not in the cards this week, so I'll be watching from the sofa. I'd like to think that CU is going to play well, so we'll see. I really doubt we're going to do a live broadcast, but who knows? I think the Buffs win 31-27, and it's a win that throws them into the stratosphere and puts them on the national stage where they want to be. So we'll see.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I think it's going to be a war. I think it's going to be one of those lower scoring games. 24-10, CU. That's what I'm rocking with. I'll gladly bet that as well.
24-10, I like that.
Yeah, I think their defense shows. Really shows some people. I really do. Before we go, Craig,
does anybody want me to do a broadcast?
We'll talk offline. People, I think a lot of people in chat do. Yeah, we'll talk offline. But hey, great show on this fine Friday. Got to see you rolling tomorrow. It's gonna be a great game. We'll either see you tomorrow or on Monday. Either way, we'll see you. Peace.
Go Buffs.